I was folding laundry in my small two-bedroom apartment when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw a woman I barely recognized. Designer clothes, expensive handbag, perfect hair and makeup. But I knew those eyes. I'd know them anywhere. My daughter, Shanice. I opened the door slowly. "Hello, Mama," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Shanice," my voice was flat. "What are you doing here? Can't a daughter visit her mother? You haven't visited in 2 years. What do you want?" She looked past me into the apartment. "Are they home? Jaden, Aisha, Deshawn?" "They're at school, where they should be on a Tuesday afternoon." "Good. Then we can talk. Can I come in?" Every instinct told me to say no. But she was still my daughter, even after everything. I stepped aside and let her in. Shanice walked into my small living room, her eyes scanning everything. The worn couch I'd bought secondhand, the cramped space, the evidence of 4 people living in an apartment meant for 2. "Mama, you're still living like this?" "Like what?" "Like this." She gestured around. "Cramped, poor. The kids deserve better." My jaw tightened. The kids have everything they need. Do they? Because I can give them so much more now. "What are you talking about?" Shanice sat down on my couch like she owned it. "I'm married now. Did you know that?" "I heard through your aunt. His name is Marcus Bryant. He's a real estate developer, very successful. We have a beautiful home in Buckhead. 6 bedrooms, pool, home theater." "Good for you, Shanice. I'm happy you're doing well." "I'm not just doing well, Mama. I'm sober, 2 years clean. I have a stable life, a good husband, financial security." "That's wonderful, really." "Which is why I'm here." She leaned forward. "I want my children back." The room seemed to tilt. "What?" "Jaden, Aisha, and Deshawn. They're my children. I want them to come live with me and Marcus." I stared at her, unable to process what she was saying. "You abandoned them 15 years ago, Shanice. You left Jaden when he was 1 year old, Aisha when she was barely walking, and Deshawn when he was 2 months old." I was sick then, addicted. I couldn't take care of them. And I could. So I did. I sold my house to take care of them. I raised them for 15 years. And I'm grateful for that, Mama, really. But I'm their mother. Now that I'm healthy and stable, they should be with me. They don't even know you, Shanice. Because you kept them from me. I kept them from you? You disappeared. You'd show up maybe once a year, high out of your mind, make promises you'd never keep, and then vanish again. I was struggling, and I was raising your children, working double shifts, selling my house, using every penny of my retirement to feed and clothe and educate them. Shanice's expression hardened. "I'm not here to fight, Mama. I'm here to tell you that I'm taking my children back. I'm their mother. You gave birth to them. I mothered them. There's a difference. Not in the eyes of the law." My blood ran cold. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm telling you the reality. Biologically, they're mine. And now that I can provide for them properly, better than you can in this tiny apartment, I'm taking them. You can't just show up after 15 years and demand them back. Watch me." Shanice stood up. "I'm giving you notice out of respect. In 2 weeks, I'm coming back to get them. I suggest you prepare them for the transition." "Transition?" "Shanice, they don't even call you Mom. Aisha won't even speak to you. Deshawn doesn't remember you at all. Then you have 2 weeks to help them understand. Tell them I'm their mother and I'm ready to be in their lives now." "What about little Marcus?" I asked quietly. Shanice froze. "What?" "Your son with Marcus Bryant. He's 3 years old, right? You kept him. You raised him. But these 3, you abandoned. Why? That's different." "How?" "Marcus Jr. was born when I was clean, when I was ready. So these 3 deserve to be abandoned because you weren't ready. And now you just get to collect them like they're possessions you left in storage. They're my children. They're children I raised. I gave up everything for them. And now it's time for them to have a real family, a mother and a father, a proper home, everything you can't give them." She walked to the door, then turned back. 2 weeks, Mama. Get them ready. This could be easy, or it could be hard. But either way, I'm taking my children home. She left, closing the door quietly behind her. I stood in my living room, shaking. For 15 years, I'd been their mother, their only parent, their entire world. And now Shanice wanted to take them away. Not because she loved them, not because she'd been fighting to get them back, but because now she had money, a husband, and a lifestyle that required her children as accessories. I looked around my small apartment, at the photos covering every wall, Jaden's football games, Aisha's art projects, Deshawn's kindergarten graduation. 15 years of memories, 15 years of sacrifice, 15 years of being their grandmother, their mother, their everything. And in 2 weeks, Shanice thought she could just erase all of that. My name is Lorraine Brooks. Everyone calls me Rainey. I'm 66 years old, and 15 years ago, I sold my beautiful 3-bedroom house to raise my 3 grandchildren after my daughter abandoned them. I worked until I was 62, spent every penny of my retirement, and gave up my entire life to make sure those babies had food, clothes, and love. And now my daughter, who I haven't seen in 2 years, who abandoned her children for drugs and partying, wants them back because she's married a rich man and wants to play house. She thought this would be easy. She thought I'd just hand them over. She was wrong. Those are my babies. I raised them. I sacrificed everything for them, and I wasn't giving them up without a fight. Not a legal fight. I couldn't afford lawyers, but a fight for their hearts. Because in 2 weeks, Shanice was going to come back and offer them everything I couldn't: money, a big house, expensive gifts, college funds. And I was going to have to convince 3 kids, a 16-year-old who was starting to care about money, a 13-year-old who was angry at the world, and a 9-year-old who was too young to understand, that my love was worth more than her wealth, that 15 years of sacrifice meant more than 2 weeks of promises, that the woman who raised them was their real mother, not the woman who gave birth to them. I had 2 weeks to prove it. 2 weeks before Shanice came back to take them away. 2 weeks to show my grandchildren why they should choose me. And I was terrified I was going to lose. After Shanice left, I sat on my couch staring at the wall, remembering how we got here. How I went from a homeowner with a comfortable retirement to a woman living in a 2-bedroom apartment, barely scraping by. It started 15 years ago with a phone call. I was at work at the school cafeteria where I'd worked for 23 years. It was a Tuesday morning, and I was prepping lunch for 500 kids. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Is this Lorraine Brooks? Yes, who's calling? This is Children's Protective Services. We have your daughter Shanice here with 3 children. Jaden, age 1, Aisha, who's 11 months, and an infant named Deshawn, 2 months old. My heart stopped. What happened? Your daughter was found unresponsive in her apartment. Drug overdose. She survived, but the children were in dangerous conditions. No food in the house. The baby hadn't been changed in hours. The apartment was filthy. Are the babies okay? They're malnourished and neglected, but they'll survive. Ms. Brooks, your daughter is being taken to rehab. We need someone to take the children. You're listed as next of kin. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I left work immediately. Drove to the CPS office with my heart pounding. When I got there, I saw my 3 grandchildren for the first time in months. Jaden, barely walking, with matted hair and a dirty diaper. Aisha, thin as a rail, clutching a filthy stuffed animal. And baby Deshawn, so tiny, crying weakly like he didn't have the energy for more. Oh, my babies, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. The CPS worker looked at me seriously. Ms. Brooks, are you able to take all 3 children? Yes, absolutely yes. It could be long-term. Your daughter will be in rehab for at least 90 days, possibly longer. And even after that, she'll need to prove she's capable of parenting before we'd return custody. I understand. Do you have space for 3 children? I thought about my 3-bedroom house. Yes, I have room. Do you have the financial means? I thought about my salary, $32,000 a year. Barely enough for me, let alone 3 babies. I'll make it work. That day, I took all 3 children home. 3 babies, 1 walking, 1 crawling, 1 in diapers. I was 51 years old. I thought I was done raising children. My own kids were grown. I was looking forward to retirement, to traveling, to enjoying my golden years. Instead, I was starting over with 3 babies who needed everything. The first month was chaos. Jaden had night terrors and would wake up screaming. Aisha wouldn't eat. She was so used to being hungry that she didn't know how to accept food. Deshaun had diaper rash so bad it had become infected. I took them all to the doctor. The pediatrician was horrified by their condition. "These children have been severely neglected," she said. "Jaden is underweight by 15 pounds. Aisha has developmental delays from malnutrition. The baby has multiple infections. Will they be okay?" With proper care, yes, but it's going to take time, consistency, and a lot of love. I gave them all 3. I fed them healthy meals, even though it meant my grocery bill tripled and I had to cut back on everything else. I took them to every doctor appointment, even though it meant using vacation days and sick days until I had none left. I held them when they cried, which was often because babies who've been neglected don't trust easily. I sang to them, read to them, played with them, gave them the childhood they deserved. After 90 days, Shanice got out of rehab. She came to my house looking healthier than I'd seen her in years. "I'm clean now, Mama. I want my babies back." "Shanice, the babies are doing well here. They're healthy. They're thriving. Why don't you just visit for now? Build a relationship with them? They're my children. I want them back." But CPS disagreed. They did a home visit to Shanice's apartment and found she had no job, no furniture, no food in the fridge. "Ms. Washington needs to demonstrate stability before we can return custody," the caseworker told me. Shanice was furious. She blamed me, said I was keeping her children from her, but she didn't get a job. She didn't stabilize. Within 3 months, she'd relapsed and disappeared. I didn't hear from her for 8 months. Meanwhile, I was raising 3 babies alone. My salary wasn't enough. Diapers, formula, baby food, clothes they constantly outgrew, medical bills. It was endless. I worked extra shifts whenever I could. I babysat other people's kids on weekends for extra money. I cut every expense I could. But it still wasn't enough. I had to make a choice. My house was paid off. I'd finished the mortgage 5 years earlier. It was worth about $280,000. My retirement account had about $150,000 in it. I could sell the house, use the money to rent an apartment, and support the kids for a few years until I figured something else out. Or I could keep the house and watch 3 babies suffer because I couldn't afford to feed them properly. It wasn't really a choice at all. I put the house on the market. It sold in 3 weeks. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, $200 a month instead of the $0 I'd been paying on a paid-off house. The kids shared 1 bedroom, Jaden and Deshaun in bunk beds, Aisha in a toddler bed. I took the other bedroom. The house sold for $280,000. After closing costs, I netted $265,000. I put $200,000 in a savings account for the kids' future, food, clothes, emergencies, eventually college. I used $50,000 to pay off my car and set up an emergency fund. The remaining $15,000 went to immediate needs: furniture for the apartment, clothes for 3 growing kids, medical bills. That money was supposed to last until the kids were older, until I could retire with Social Security and my pension. It lasted 8 years. 8 years of diapers, formula, doctor visits, school supplies, birthday parties, Christmas presents, field trip fees, sports equipment, dance classes, everything 3 growing children need. By the time I was 60, the $200,000 was gone. Completely gone. I started dipping into my retirement account. The $150,000 that was supposed to fund my retirement, my golden years. I took out $20,000 when Jaden needed braces. Another $15,000 when Aisha wanted to go to art camp. $10,000 when Deshaun needed tubes in his ears. $25,000 for a used minivan when my car finally died. By the time I was 62 and finally eligible to retire, my retirement account had $35,000 left. Not enough to retire on. Not nearly enough, but I couldn't keep working. My body was giving out. 25 years of standing on concrete floors in a cafeteria kitchen had destroyed my knees and my back. I retired at 62 with a small pension, $1,400 a month, and Social Security, another $200 a month, $2,600 a month to support 4 people. Rent was $1,200, utilities $200, groceries for 4 people $600. That left $600 for everything else: gas, clothes, school expenses, medical bills, everything. We survived, barely. I shopped at thrift stores. I used coupons for everything. I learned to cook cheap, filling meals, beans and rice, spaghetti, chicken and potatoes. The kids never went hungry. But they also never had the new clothes, the latest phones, the expensive shoes their friends had. Jaden played football in cleats I found at a yard sale. Aisha did her art with supplies from the dollar store. Deshaun wore hand-me-downs from his older brother. They never complained. They knew I was doing my best, but I also knew they noticed. They noticed we lived in a small apartment while their friends lived in houses. They noticed we couldn't afford vacations. They noticed I said no to a lot of things other parents said yes to. And through all of this, 15 years of sacrifice, of selling my house, of spending every penny I had, of working until my body gave out, Shanice appeared maybe 8 times. Once when the kids were 2, 1, and 4 months old. She showed up high, promised to get clean, disappeared again. Once when they were 3, 2, and 1. She showed up for Christmas, brought no gifts, asked me for money, left when I said no. Once when they were 5, 4, and 3. She showed up sober, cried, said she wanted to be in their lives, visited twice, then vanished for 2 years. Once when they were 7, 6, and 5. She showed up with a boyfriend, wanted to take them to a park. I said no because she seemed unstable. She left angry. Once when they were 9, 8, and 7. She showed up asking if the kids could stay with her for the summer. I said absolutely not. She accused me of keeping them from her. Once when they were 11, 10, and 9. She showed up on Jaden's birthday, stayed for cake, left before presents. Once when they were 13, 12, and 11. She called asking for money. I hung up. Once when they were 14, 13, and 12. She showed up sober, said she was doing better, spent 1 afternoon with them, never called again. 8 visits in 15 years. 8 times she showed up, made promises, broke them, and left me to pick up the pieces. And now that the kids were 15, 13, and 9, now that the hard years of diapers and sleepless nights and tantrums were over, now that they were becoming interesting people with personalities and talents, now she wanted them back. Not because she loved them, not because she'd been fighting to get them, but because she'd married a wealthy man and wanted to play the role of mother of 3 in his perfect family. I sat on my couch in my small apartment, looking at photos covering the walls. 15 years of memories, 15 years of sacrifice, and in 2 weeks, Shanice was coming back to take them away. Not if I could help it. I didn't tell the kids about Shanice's visit that first day. I needed time to think, to figure out how to handle this. But I should have known Shanice wouldn't wait. 2 days later, I picked Deshaun up from elementary school and found him holding a brand new iPad. "Grandma, look what I got." My heart sank. "Where did you get that, baby?" "A lady gave it to me. She was waiting outside school and she said she knew you and she gave me this present." I grabbed the iPad, my hands shaking. "What lady?" "I don't know. She was pretty. She said she was a friend." I marched straight to the principal's office. Someone approached my grandson outside school and gave him an expensive gift. A woman. Did anyone see her? The principal checked with the teachers on duty. We saw a well-dressed woman talking to Deshaun, but she said she was family picking him up. We asked Deshaun, and he went with her willingly for a few minutes. "She's not authorized to pick him up. Only I am." "I'm so sorry, Ms. Brooks. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again." But the damage was done. Shanice had made contact. That evening, I sat Deshaun down. "Baby, that lady who gave you the iPad, that was Shanice." "Who's Shanice? How do you explain to a 9-year-old that the stranger who gave him a gift is his mother? She's She's someone who wants to be in your life. But Grandma needs you to promise me. Don't talk to her unless I'm there, okay? Okay, Grandma. Can I keep the iPad? I wanted to say no. I wanted to throw it in the trash, but I also knew that taking it away would make me the bad guy and Shanice the generous one. You can keep it. But only 1 hour of screen time a day, understand? Yes, Grandma. The next day, Aisha came home from her after-school art program with new art supplies, professional-grade markers, expensive sketchbooks, oil paints. Where did you get those? Aisha looked uncomfortable. Shanice brought them. Shanice was at your art program? She said she heard I liked art. She said she wanted to support my talent. And you talked to her? She seemed nice. She asked about my art. She said I was really talented. Aisha's voice was defensive. No one ever says that. I say that all the time. You say I'm good. She said I could be great, that with the right supplies and the right school, I could be a real artist. Aisha, you are a real artist. You don't need expensive supplies for that. But they help, Grandma. She looked at the supplies longingly. These are the kind of markers the professionals use. Did Shanice say anything else? She said she wanted to get to know me better, that she wished she'd been around more when I was growing up. What did you say? I said I didn't really remember her. She seemed sad about that. Of course she did. Shanice was good at playing the victim. That evening, Jaden came home late from football practice. Where were you? Practice ended an hour ago. I grabbed food with someone. With who? Shanice. He said it casually, like it was no big deal. Shanice took you to dinner? Yeah. She showed up after practice, said she wanted to talk. We went to that steakhouse on Peachtree. It was really nice. What did you talk about? Jaden shrugged. Stuff. She asked about school, football, what I want to do after graduation. And what did you tell her? I told her, I want to be an engineer. She said her husband Marcus could help with that. He knows people at Georgia Tech. My stomach dropped. What else did she say? She said she's sorry she wasn't around when we were growing up, that she was sick, but she's better now, that she wants to make up for lost time. And you believe her? Jaden looked at me carefully. I don't know what I believe, Grandma, but she seemed genuine. She seemed genuine 8 other times too. Then she disappeared. Maybe this time is different. Or maybe this time she has something to gain. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just, be careful, Jaden. Grandma, I'm 16. I can talk to my own mother if I want to. His own mother. The words cut like a knife. Of course you can. I just don't want you to get hurt. I'm not a kid anymore. I can handle it. But could he? Could any of them? Over the next week, Shanice's campaign continued. She showed up at Jaden's football game, cheering loudly, wearing school colors. She took Aisha to an art gallery downtown, then to an expensive lunch. She picked Deshaun up from school, with my permission this time, after he begged, and took him to an arcade. Each time, she came back with stories of how wonderful Shanice was, how generous, how interested in their lives. And each time, I felt them slipping away from me. One evening, Aisha came home from another outing with Shanice. Grandma, can I ask you something? Of course, baby. Why didn't Shanice raise us? The question I'd been dreading. She was sick, Aisha. She had an addiction. She couldn't take care of you. But she's better now, right? That's what she said. Yes, she's been sober for 2 years. I'm proud of her for that. So why can't she take care of us now? Because I've been taking care of you for 15 years. You're my babies. But we're her babies too, right? She said we're her children. Biologically, yes. But she said you kept us from her, that she wanted to see us, but you wouldn't let her. My blood boiled. That's not true. She said she called and you hung up on her. Once. I hung up on her once when she called asking for money, not to see you kids. She said she tried to visit and you turned her away. When she was high and unstable, yes, I protected you from seeing her like that. She said you sold your house to keep us. I sold my house to raise you, to feed you, clothe you, give you a home. But you didn't have to. You could have let her raise us. Aisha, when you were 11 months old, you were so malnourished you couldn't even sit up properly. When I got you, you weighed 14 pounds. A healthy baby your age should weigh 22 pounds. Aisha was quiet. Your brother Jaden had infected sores all over his body from sitting in dirty diapers. Deshaun had pneumonia because no one had taken care of him. That's why I took you. Not to keep you from Shanice, but to save your lives. She said she was sick then, that it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault that she was an addict, but it was her choice to keep using instead of getting help. It was her choice to disappear for months at a time. It was her choice to show up and make promises she never kept. People change, Grandma. Sometimes. But sometimes they just get better at pretending. Aisha looked at me with something I'd never seen before in her eyes. Doubt. Shanice said you're old, that you're struggling, that we live in this tiny apartment because you can't afford better. That's true. I am old. I am struggling. But I did that for you. She said she can give us a better life, a big house, our own rooms, nice things. She can give you money. I can give you love. Why can't we have both? Because Shanice wants you to choose. She wants you to leave me and go live with her. Would that be so bad? The question broke my heart. Would it be bad for you to leave the woman who raised you, who sacrificed everything for you, to go live with a stranger who gave birth to you, but never mothered you? Yes, Aisha. That would break my heart. But she's not a stranger. She's our mom. I'm your mom, in every way that matters. You're our grandma. I'm the one who walked the floor with you at night when you had nightmares. I'm the one who sat with you in the hospital when you had appendicitis. I'm the one who goes to every art show, every parent-teacher conference, every moment of your life. But she's the one who gave birth to us, and I'm the one who raised you. Aisha looked torn. I don't know what to do, Grandma. You don't have to do anything, just be careful. Don't let expensive gifts and big promises make you forget who's been here all along. But even as I said it, I could see I was losing her. The next evening, Jaden came home and asked to talk to me. Grandma, Shanice wants us to come over for dinner next weekend, all three of us, to meet her husband Marcus and see their house. And you want to go? Yeah. I think we should at least see where she lives, meet her family. Her family? You're her family. You know what I mean. Her new family. Fine, I'll come with you. Actually, Jaden looked uncomfortable. She said just us kids. She wants to spend time with us without things being complicated. Without me, you mean. Grandma, don't take it personally. How else should I take it? She's trying to separate you from me. Or maybe she just wants to get to know us. She's had 15 years to get to know you. Can we just go? Please? I promise we'll be careful. I wanted to say no. Every instinct screamed to say no. But I also knew that forbidding them would only push them toward her. Fine. But all three of you go together. And you call me if anything feels wrong. Thanks, Grandma. After he left, Deshaun climbed into my lap. Grandma, are you sad? A little, baby. Is it because of Shanice? Yes. I don't want you to be sad. I love you. I love you too, Deshaun. So much. Jaden and Aisha say Shanice is our mom. Is that true? She gave birth to you, but I've been your mom since you were a baby. I don't remember her. I know. Jaden and Aisha are excited about the big house, but I like our apartment. You do? It's cozy, and you're here. I hugged him tight. At least I still had Deshaun. At least the baby still needed me. But for how long? Saturday came. The kids dressed in their nicest clothes, which weren't very nice, but it was all we had. A luxury SUV pulled up in front of our apartment. Marcus Bryant himself came to the door. He was tall, well-dressed, confident. Everything I wasn't. Ms. Brooks, I'm Marcus Bryant. It's nice to finally meet you. Mr. Bryant, Shanice has told me so much about you. Thank you for taking care of the children all these years. Thank you for taking care of the children. Like I was a babysitter, not their mother. They're my grandchildren. Of course I took care of them. Well, we're excited to have them over for dinner. Get to know them better. Please have them home by 9. It's a school night. Of course. Jaden, Aisha, and Deshawn climbed into the SUV. Deshawn looked back at me through the window, uncertain. I waved, smiling, even though my heart was breaking. They drove away. I went back inside my small apartment and sat in the silence. For the first time in 15 years, all 3 kids were gone at the same time. The apartment felt empty, too quiet. I looked around at our small space, at the worn furniture, at the walls that needed painting. Then I imagined Shanice's house, the 6 bedrooms, the pool, the home theater. How could I compete with that? How could I compete with a woman who could give them everything I couldn't? I couldn't. All I had was 15 years of love and sacrifice, and I was terrified it wouldn't be enough. The kids came home at 9:15 p.m. I was waiting on the couch, pretending to watch TV, but actually staring at the door. When they walked in, they were quiet. Too quiet. How was it? I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. Jaden shrugged. It was fine. Just fine? Aisha looked at me, then away. It was nice, Grandma. Deshawn climbed onto the couch next to me. Their house is really big. Is it? It has a pool, and a game room, and I got my own bedroom. My stomach dropped. Your own bedroom? Jaden sat down across from me. Grandma, we need to talk. Those 4 words every parent dreads. Okay, let's talk. Shanice wants us to come live with her. There it was. Out loud. The thing I'd been terrified of for 2 weeks. And what did you say? We said we needed to think about it, to talk to you. But you're considering it. Aisha spoke up, her voice defensive. Grandma, her house is amazing. Each of us would have our own room, with our own bathroom, and there's a pool and a home theater and none of that matters if you're not with people who love you. She loves us. She's our mother. She gave birth to you. I mothered you. Jaden held up his hand. Grandma, let's not fight. We just want to talk about this logically. Logically? There's nothing logical about a woman who abandoned you showing up 15 years later and offering you a mansion. She didn't abandon us. She was sick. And where was she when she got better? Where was she for the past 2 years of sobriety? Where was she on your 15th birthday, Jaden? Where was she when Aisha won first place in the art competition? Where was she when Deshawn learned to read? She was getting her life together so she could take care of us properly. I was taking care of you properly. I've been taking care of you for 15 years. Deshawn started crying. Why are you yelling? I took a breath, lowered my voice. I'm sorry, baby. I'm not yelling at you. I'm upset. Grandma, can I ask you something? Aisha said quietly. Of course. Why do we live like this, in this tiny apartment? Why don't we have nice things? Because I spent everything I had raising you. But why? Why didn't you just let Shanice take care of us when she got better? Because by the time she got better, you were already mine. I'd already raised you for years. I'd already sold my house, spent my retirement, given up my entire life for you. But maybe if you'd given us back to her earlier, you'd still have your house. You'd still have your money. The words hung in the air like poison. Aisha, are you saying you wish I hadn't raised you? No, I'm just saying. Maybe everyone would be better off if we lived with Shanice now. You could have your life back. We could have nice things. I don't want my life back. You are my life. Jaden spoke up. Grandma, we love you. You know we do. But Shanice can give us things you can't. Like what? A pool? A big house? Those are things, Jaden. Not love. Like college, he said quietly. I froze. What? Marcus said he'd pay for all of us to go to college. Full tuition, room and board, everything. He said he'd help me get into Georgia Tech. That's my dream school, Grandma. And I was going to help you apply for scholarships. Scholarships might not be enough. You know that. But if I live with them, college is guaranteed. So this is about money. It's about opportunity. Grandma, I want to be an engineer. Aisha wants to go to art school. Do you know how much art school costs? Shanice said she'd send me to the Savannah College of Art and Design, Aisha added. It's one of the best art schools in the country. It costs $50,000 a year. And I can't give you that, so I'm not good enough anymore? That's not what we're saying. Then what are you saying? Jaden looked at his siblings, then back at me. We're saying that maybe it would be better for everyone if we lived with Shanice and Marcus. They have the money, the space, the resources, and you could finally rest. You've done so much for us. Maybe it's time to let someone else take over. Let someone else take over? You're not a job I'm tired of doing. You're my children. We're your grandchildren, Aisha corrected. And Shanice is our mother. I've been your mother for 15 years. But legally, she's our mother. And now she wants us back. I looked at Deshawn, who was still crying quietly. Deshawn, what about you? Do you want to leave Grandma? I don't know, he whispered. The house is really nice. And Shanice said I could have a puppy. A puppy. She was buying them with puppies and pools and promises. Baby, you know we can't have a puppy here. The landlord doesn't allow pets, but that doesn't mean... But Shanice said we could have anything we want. She said we could have new clothes and new phones and go on vacations. And I can't give you those things. Is that what this is about? I'm not rich enough? Grandma, that's not fair, Jaden said. What's not fair is that I gave up everything for you, and now you're leaving me because someone with more money showed up. You're making this sound like we're betraying you, aren't you? The silence was deafening. Finally, Aisha spoke. Grandma, we haven't made any decisions yet. We need time to think. Think about what? Think about whether 15 years of sacrifice is worth more than a mansion? That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? It's about having a normal life, Aisha shouted. It's about not wearing thrift store clothes. It's about not being embarrassed when friends ask where we live. It's about having a mother who's actually our age and not old, I finished. Not poor? Not good enough? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Jaden stood up. I think we should all cool off. We're not making any decisions tonight. But you're considering it. You're actually considering leaving me. Grandma, try to understand. I understand perfectly. I understand that I sacrificed everything, and it wasn't enough. I walked to my bedroom and closed the door. I could hear them talking in hushed voices in the living room. Then I heard bedroom doors closing. I lay on my bed and cried. For the first time since this started, I let myself really cry. I'd given them everything. My house, my savings, my retirement, my life. And they were considering leaving me for a woman who'd given them nothing. The next morning, the apartment was tense. Jaden made breakfast, something he'd started doing lately to help out. But the silence as we ate was oppressive. Grandma, he said finally, can we talk about this calmly? What's there to talk about? About why you're so against us, even considering living with Shanice. Because she abandoned you. 15 years ago, people change. Do they? Or do they just get better at manipulation? That's not fair. You haven't even given her a chance. I gave her 15 years of chances. Every time she showed up, I hoped she'd changed. Every time she proved she hadn't. But this time is different. She's married, stable, sober for 2 years. And what happens when she relapses? What happens when she gets bored of playing mother? What happens when you're no longer convenient for her perfect life? You're being negative. I'm being realistic. Shanice has a pattern. She makes promises. She breaks them. She disappears. I'm trying to protect you from that. We're not little kids anymore, Grandma. We can protect ourselves. Can you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're falling for the oldest trick in the book. Someone with money promising you everything. Aisha slammed her cup down. Why do you hate her so much? I don't hate her. She's my daughter, but I know her, and I know that this sudden interest in you isn't about love. It's about something else. Like what? I don't know yet. But I know Shanice. She always has an angle. Or maybe she's just a mother who wants her children back. After 15 years? Why now, Aisha? Why not last year, or the year before, or any of the 13 years before that? Because she wasn't ready before, or because something changed. And I need you to think about what that might be. Jaden's phone buzzed. He looked at it and stood up. It's Shanice. She wants to take us shopping today. For school clothes. School doesn't start for 2 months. She said we should get ahead of it. And that we need new clothes anyway. The implication was clear. The clothes I'd been buying from thrift stores weren't good enough. Fine. Go. But be home by dinner. After they left, I sat alone in the apartment again. I picked up the phone and called the one person I thought might help. Shanice's aunt, my sister-in-law Paula. Paula, I need your help. Rainey, what's wrong? It's Shanice, she's back, and she wants the kids. Oh Lord, what are you going to do? I don't know. She's buying them with expensive gifts and promises, and they're falling for it. Have you told them the truth? About why she really left? What truth? That she was an addict? They know that. Not that. The other truth. About Marcus Jr. My blood ran cold. What about Marcus Jr.? You don't know? Shanice had a baby 3 years ago, a son. Marcus Jr. She kept that baby, raised him, never abandoned him once. I knew she had another child, but I didn't think about Rainey. She chose to keep that baby and raise him, but she abandoned Jaden, Aisha, and Deshaun. That wasn't about addiction, that was about choice. Why would she do that? Because the first 3 were with a man who left her. Marcus Jr. is with a rich man who married her. She kept the baby that came with money and status. The kids don't know this? How would they? You shielded them from it? After I hung up, I sat with this new information. Shanice didn't just abandon my grandchildren because she was an addict. She abandoned them because they weren't valuable to her. But Marcus Jr., born into wealth and stability, was worth keeping. And now she wanted the older 3 back. Because, why? I needed to find out. That evening, the kids came home with shopping bags, expensive brands, new shoes, clothes, backpacks. Shanice bought all this? I asked. Yeah, and she said there's more where that came from, Jaden said. She also said something else, Aisha added. She invited us to spend next weekend at her house, like a sleepover, to see what it would be like to live there. And you said yes? We said we'd think about it, which means yes. Jaden sat down. Grandma, we need to figure this out. We can't keep going back and forth forever. You're right. So let me ask you something. Did Shanice tell you about Marcus Jr.? They looked confused. Who? Her son, your half-brother. He's 3 years old. We have a brother? Deshaun asked. Yes. Shanice had another baby 3 years ago. She kept him, raised him, never abandoned him once. The information settled over them like a heavy blanket. Why didn't she tell us? Aisha asked quietly. Because it raises an uncomfortable question. If she was capable of raising Marcus Jr., why did she abandon you 3? Maybe she was better by then, Jaden suggested, but his voice lacked conviction. Or maybe she kept the baby who came with money and a husband and abandoned the 3 who didn't. That's a horrible thing to say, Aisha said. But ask yourselves, why does she want you back now, after 15 years? Right when she's married to a wealthy man who wants a complete family? You think she's using us? I think Shanice always has a reason for what she does, and I don't think that reason is love. Jaden stood up. I need to think about this. They all went to their rooms. I sat alone in the living room, hoping that the truth about Marcus Jr. would make them see Shanice clearly. But I also knew that hope and reality were often very different things. The next day, I decided to do something I'd been avoiding. I needed to meet Marcus Bryant face to face, without Shanice, without the kids. I found his office address online and showed up unannounced. His secretary tried to stop me. Do you have an appointment? No, but please tell Mr. Bryant that Lorraine Brooks needs to speak with him. It's about his wife and her children. 5 minutes later, I was ushered into his office. Marcus stood up when I entered. Ms. Brooks, this is unexpected. I'm sure it is. I'll be brief. How much do you know about Shanice's history with her children? He looked uncomfortable. I know she had 3 children before we met. That they've been living with you because she wasn't able to care for them. Did she tell you why she wasn't able to care for them? She was struggling with addiction. And did she tell you that she visited them maybe 8 times in 15 years? That she made no effort to be in their lives even after she got clean? She said you kept them from her. That's a lie. I would have welcomed her involvement, but she didn't want involvement. She wanted the freedom to live her life without the responsibility of 3 children. Marcus sat down slowly. Why are you telling me this? Because you seem like a decent man. And I don't think you know what you're involved in. Which is? Shanice wants those children back because they complete your perfect family picture. Not because she loves them. Not because she's been fighting to get them back. But because having 3 well-adjusted teenagers makes her look good. That's quite an accusation. Ask her about Marcus Jr. Ask her why she kept your son but abandoned the others. Ask her why, if she's such a devoted mother now, she wasn't for 15 years. I think you should leave. Mr. Bryant, those children are about to make a decision that will change their lives. They're being seduced by money and promises. But I need you to understand something. I love those kids more than life itself. I gave up everything for them. And if Shanice hurts them again, I will hold you responsible too. I left his office, not knowing if I'd helped or hurt my cause. But at least he'd heard the truth. Now I had to hope it mattered. 2 days later, Shanice called me. Mama, I think it's time we had a family meeting. All of us together. You, me, Marcus, the kids. We need to discuss this situation like adults. I agree. Good. Come to our house this Sunday at 2 p.m. We'll have dinner, and we can all talk about what's best for the children. I'll be there. When I hung up, I felt sick. This was it. The moment where everything would be decided. Sunday morning, I got up early and made the kids their favorite breakfast. Homemade waffles with fresh fruit. Grandma, why are you making such a big breakfast? Deshawn asked. Because I love you, and I want you to remember that no matter what happens today, I will always love you. You're scaring me. Don't be scared, baby. Everything's going to be okay. But I wasn't sure I believed it myself. At 1:30 p.m., we got into my old car, a 2008 Honda with 180,000 miles on it, and drove to Buckhead. The contrast between my car and the neighborhood we were entering was stark. Massive houses, perfectly manicured lawns, luxury cars in every driveway. We pulled up to Shanice's address. The house was even more impressive than I'd imagined. A brick mansion with columns, a circular driveway, professionally landscaped gardens. Wow, Deshawn breathed. We walked to the front door. Before I could knock, it swung open. Shanice stood there, dressed like she was hosting a magazine photo shoot. Mama, kids, come in, come in. We entered a 2-story foyer with marble floors and a chandelier that probably cost more than I'd spent on the kids in the past year. Let me give you the tour, Shanice said brightly. She led us through room after room, a formal living room, a dining room with seating for 12, a gourmet kitchen, a family room with a TV bigger than my couch, a home office, a gym. Upstairs were 6 bedrooms. She showed us 3 that she'd prepared for the children. This would be Jaden's room, she said, opening a door to a huge bedroom with a queen bed, a desk, a gaming setup, and its own bathroom. This is Aisha's room, an artist's dream, natural lighting, an easel, professional art supplies, a walk-in closet. And this is Deshawn's room, a kid's paradise, bunk beds, toys, a reading nook, posters of his favorite superheroes. The kids were speechless. There's also the pool house, Shanice added, and the game room in the basement. And of course, you'd have access to everything, the pool, the home theater, the tennis court. You have a tennis court? Aisha asked. In the back. Marcus loves tennis. We went back downstairs to the outdoor patio, where Marcus was grilling steaks. Ms. Brooks, he said, nodding at me. Children, good to see you again. There was a little boy playing in the yard, about 3 years old, with Shanice's eyes. That's Marcus Jr., Shanice said. Your little brother. The kids stared. This was the first time they'd seen proof of his existence. Hi, the little boy said, running up. I'm Marcus. Are you my big brothers and sister? Yeah, Jaden said slowly. Yeah, we are. Mommy said you're coming to live with us. We can play together. The innocence of it broke my heart. We sat down for dinner. Perfectly grilled steaks, roasted vegetables, homemade rolls. Everything I couldn't afford to make. During dinner, Shanice started her pitch. So, I know this has been a big adjustment for everyone, but I want you all to know that I'm serious about this. I want my children back. I want us to be a family. After 15 years? I couldn't help asking. Yes, Mama. After 15 years, I know I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But I'm different now. I'm healthy, I'm stable, I have a loving husband and a beautiful home. I can give these children everything they deserve. They already have everything they deserve. They have love. They can have love and opportunities, love and security, love and a future. She turned to the kids. I know your grandmother has done an amazing job raising you, and I'm grateful for that. But let's be honest about the situation. You're living in a tiny apartment. You're wearing secondhand clothes. You're struggling financially. We're not struggling, I said. Mama, please, let's not pretend. I know your Social Security and pension. I know you're living month to month. I know you can't afford to send them to college. I would find a way. Why should you have to find a way when I can just pay for it? When Marcus can open doors for them that you never could. She looked at Jaden. You want to be an engineer. Georgia Tech is one of the best schools in the country. Marcus sits on their board. You'd be a shoo-in. She looked at Aisha. You want to go to art school. SCAD costs $50,000 a year. I'll pay for all 4 years. She looked at Deshawn. You're only 9. You have your whole childhood ahead of you. Don't you want a yard to play in? A puppy? Brothers and friends in the neighborhood? That's not fair, I said. You're bribing them. I'm offering them opportunities. There's a difference. The only difference is you have money and I don't. But money doesn't make you a better parent. No, but being present does. And I'm ready to be present now. Where were you when Jaden learned to ride a bike? When Aisha won her first art competition? When Deshawn learned to read? I was getting my life together so I could be the mother they deserved. You were living your life without them, Marcus intervened. Ladies, let's keep this civil. Civil? I turned to him. Did your wife tell you that she kept Marcus Jr., but abandoned these 3? Did she tell you that she had a choice and she chose to keep the baby that came with money? Shanice's face went red. That's not fair. It's the truth. You had Marcus Jr. 3 years ago when you were supposedly too broken to be in these children's lives. But you kept him. You raised him. Why? Because I was finally ready to be a mother. Or because he came with a rich husband and they didn't. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you show up after 15 years and act like you're entitled to them, like I was just babysitting? You were keeping them from me. I was raising them because you abandoned them. The kids were watching us, eyes wide. Shanice stood up, trembling with rage. I am their mother. Biologically, legally, I am their mother, and I want them back. You can't just demand them back like they're property. Actually, I can. They're minors. I'm their biological parent. Unless you want to go to court, I can't afford court, and you know it. That's what you're counting on. Marcus stood up. Shanice, maybe we should— No! Shanice snapped. I'm tired of tiptoeing around this. Mama, you've had 15 years. You did a good job, but it's time to let go. Let go? They're not objects I'm holding. They're my children. I raised them. And now I'm taking them back. Over my dead body. Stop! Jaden stood up, slamming his hands on the table. Both of you, just stop. Everyone fell silent. Jaden looked between us, breathing hard. Do either of you care what we want? Or are you just going to fight over us like we're prizes? Jaden, Shanice started. No, I need to say this. He looked at her. You are our biological mother, but you haven't been our mom. Grandma has been our mom for 15 years. But I'm ready now. Are you? Or are you just ready to look like a perfect family? Shanice looked stricken. That's not fair. Is it true you have a son, Marcus Jr., that you kept him but not us? Silence. Shanice, Marcus said quietly, is that true? It's complicated. It's not complicated, I said. You had 3 children you abandoned and 1 you kept. The only difference was money and marriage. Aisha spoke up, tears streaming down her face. Why didn't you want us? I did want you. I couldn't. You couldn't or you wouldn't. I was sick. But you weren't sick when Marcus Jr. was born. You kept him. Why not us? Shanice sat down, her perfect facade crumbling. Because when Marcus Jr. was born, I was in a different place. I had support. I had stability. So we deserve to be abandoned because you didn't have money yet? That's not what I'm saying. Deshawn started crying. I don't understand. Why is everyone yelling? I went to him, pulled him into my lap. It's okay, baby. I want to go home, Grandma. We will, baby. Marcus Bryant stood up. I think I need to say something. Everyone looked at him. Shanice, we need to talk, privately. Marcus, not now. Yes, now. Excuse us. He took Shanice inside. Through the patio doors, we could see them arguing. The kids and I sat in awkward silence. Finally, Jaden spoke. Grandma, I'm sorry. For what, baby? For making you feel like you weren't enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. Aisha nodded, crying. The big house is nice, but it's not home. Home is our apartment with you. Even though it's small and we don't have our own rooms? We don't need our own rooms. We have each other. We have you. Deshawn hugged me tighter. I don't want to live here, Grandma. I want to go home. I was crying now, too. Are you sure? Because Shanice can give you so much. She can give us stuff, Jaden said. But you gave us everything that matters. Marcus and Shanice came back out. Shanice's eyes were red. Marcus spoke first. Ms. Brooks, I owe you an apology. I didn't know the full story. Shanice led me to believe that she'd been trying to get her children back for years and you were preventing it. That's not true. I know that now. I also know that she made a choice to keep our son but abandon her other children. That's not something I can overlook. Shanice looked at the kids desperately. Please just give me a chance. I can be a good mother now. I can give you everything. Jaden stood up. You can give us money, but Grandma gave us her house. She gave us her retirement. She gave us her life. That's love. Real love. I love you too. Do you? Or do you just want us now because we fit into your perfect life? Shanice couldn't answer. Aisha spoke up. I think we should go home. Our real home. Are you sure? Shanice asked, her voice breaking. We're sure. Deshawn nodded. I want to be with Grandma. Shanice looked at me, defeated. You win, Mama. This wasn't about winning. This was about what's best for the children. And you think living in poverty is what's best. I think being with someone who loves them unconditionally is what's best. Someone who didn't choose them based on money or convenience. Someone who chose them, period. Shanice started crying. I do love them. Maybe you do. But love isn't enough when it comes 15 years late. We left. As we walked to my old car, I heard Marcus and Shanice arguing behind us. The kids got in the car silently. As I drove away from that mansion, away from the pool and the tennis court and the perfect bedrooms, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Grandma, Jaden said from the back seat. Thank you. For what? For never giving up on us. For fighting for us. For loving us enough to sacrifice everything. You're my babies. I'd do it all over again. Aisha leaned forward. Can we get pizza tonight? From that place you like? The one with the $5 large pizzas? Yeah, that one. I miss those. I smiled. Of course we can. As we drove home to our small apartment, I realized something. Shanice had tried to buy them with money and promises. But I'd already given them something money can't buy. 15 years of showing up, of being there, of loving them when it was hard and inconvenient and expensive. And in the end, that was worth more than any mansion. 3 months after that dinner at Shanice's mansion, life went back to normal. Well, mostly normal. The kids were back in school. Jaden was playing football. Aisha was in art club. Deshawn was thriving in 4th grade. We were still living in our small 2-bedroom apartment, still shopping at thrift stores, still eating $5 pizzas on Friday nights. But something had changed. The kids appreciated what we had now. They didn't complain about the small space or the lack of new clothes. They'd seen what wealth could buy, and they'd chosen love instead. One Saturday morning, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Marcus Bryant standing there, alone. "Mr. Bryant, this is a surprise." "Ms. Brooks, I hope I'm not intruding. May I come in?" I let him in, confused. He sat on our worn couch and looked around the small apartment, the same apartment Shanice had criticized as inadequate. "I wanted to talk to you," he said. "And I wanted the children to hear this too, if that's okay." I called the kids. They came out of their room, surprised to see Marcus. "What's going on?" Jaden asked. Marcus took a breath. "I came to apologize, and to tell you what's been happening. After that dinner 3 months ago, Shanice and I had some very difficult conversations. I learned things about her past that she'd never told me. About how she'd abandoned you, 3. About the choices she made. We've been in marriage counseling. Shanice is working through a lot of issues. But I realized something. She wanted you back for the wrong reasons. She wanted you back because I wanted a larger family, because having 3 successful teenagers would look good, because it would complete the picture of the perfect life she was trying to build. That's not fair to you. And it's not fair to her son, Marcus Jr., who deserves a mother who's focused on him, not trying to collect children like trophies." He pulled out an envelope. "I also wanted to give you this." I opened it. Inside was a check for $50,000. I stared at it, unable to speak. "What is this?" I finally asked. "It's payment for 15 years of raising Shanice's children when she couldn't or wouldn't. Consider it back child support." "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can. Ms. Brooks, you sold your house. You spent your retirement. You gave up your entire life. The least we can do is help ensure the kids have what they need. This isn't charity. This is what's right." I looked at the check, tears in my eyes. $50,000. More money than I'd seen in years. "There's more," Marcus continued. "I've set up college funds for all 3 children. Full tuition, room and board, at whatever school they choose." Jaden's eyes widened. "Really?" "Really. Jaden, if you want Georgia Tech, you can go. Aisha, if you want SCAD, you can go. Deshaun, whatever you want when the time comes." "Why are you doing this?" Aisha asked. "Because you deserve it. And because your grandmother deserves to not have to choose between feeding you and saving for your future." "What does Shanice think about this?" I asked. "She agreed. She knows she can't undo the past, but she can help with the future. This is her way of trying to make amends." "Does she want to see them?" "Not regularly. She thinks it's best if she steps back and lets you continue raising them. But she'd like to have occasional contact. Birthdays, holidays, if you and the children are comfortable with that." I looked at the kids. "What do you think?" Jaden spoke first. "I think maybe that's okay. Like, she can be in our lives, but not our mom. You're our mom." Aisha nodded. "I'm not ready to have a close relationship with her. But maybe someday. If she proves she's changed." Deshaun shrugged. "I don't really care, as long as I stay with Grandma." I looked back at Marcus. Occasional visits, supervised by me, and if she disappoints them again, that's it. "Understood. I'll make sure she knows the boundaries." After Marcus left, I sat on the couch holding the check. $50,000. I could pay off my car, build up an emergency fund, maybe even start saving for a small house again. "Grandma, what are you going to do with the money?" Deshaun asked. "I'm going to make sure you 3 have everything you need. And maybe we can afford some things we couldn't before." "Like what?" "Like Jaden's football camp this summer, like Aisha's art supplies, like a real vacation, not just a day trip, but a real vacation." "Where would we go?" Aisha asked. "Wherever you want." "Disney World!" Deshaun shouted. Jaden laughed. "He's wanted to go since he was 5. "Then maybe we'll go to Disney World." That night, after the kids went to bed, I sat alone in the living room and cried. Not sad tears, relieved tears. For 3 months I'd been terrified that Shanice would come back and try again, that she'd find a way to take them from me. But Marcus's visit had made it clear. That wasn't going to happen. The kids were mine. They'd chosen me. And even Shanice had accepted that. 6 months later, we went to Disney World for a week. It was the first real vacation I'd taken in 15 years. I watched Deshaun meet his favorite characters, his face lit up with pure joy. I watched Aisha sketch the castle, her talent growing every day. I watched Jaden laugh and act like a kid again instead of carrying the weight of being the responsible one. And I felt grateful. For all of it. When we got back, there was a package waiting at our door. Inside was a card and 3 letters. The card was from Shanice. Mama, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know that I'm grateful for everything you've done. You saved my children when I couldn't. You gave them a life I never could have given them. You are more of a mother to them than I ever was. Thank you. Shanice. The 3 letters were addressed to each of the kids. They read them privately, then came to me. What did she say? I asked. She apologized, Jaden said. She said she's proud of who we're becoming, and that it's because of you. She said she's not going to try to be our mom anymore, Aisha added, that you earned that, but she hopes we can have some kind of relationship someday. She sent me a picture, Deshaun said, holding up a photo, of when I was a baby. She said she's sorry she wasn't there, but she's glad you were. How do you feel about that? I asked. I feel okay, Jaden said. Like I'm not angry anymore. I understand she was messed up, and I'm glad she's getting help. But she's not our mom, Aisha said firmly. You are. Yeah, Deshaun agreed. You're our mom. Those words meant more to me than any amount of money ever could. 1 year later, with the $50,000 from Marcus and careful saving, I was able to put a down payment on a small 3-bedroom house. Nothing fancy, nothing like Shanice's mansion, but it was ours. Jaden got his own room. Aisha got her own room with good lighting for her art. Deshaun got his own room that he immediately covered with superhero posters, and I got my own room for the first time in 15 years. On moving day, as we carried boxes into our new home, Aisha asked, Grandma, do you ever regret it? Regret what, baby? Selling your old house, spending all your money, giving up your retirement, all of it. I looked at my 3 grandchildren, now 16, 14, and 10. Strong, healthy, happy. Not for a second. Even though you had to sacrifice everything? Sacrifice? Baby, you 3 aren't a sacrifice. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You gave up so much for us. And I'd do it again, 1,000 times over. Jaden came over and hugged me. Then Aisha. Then Deshaun. We stood in the empty living room of our new house, hugging, and I felt complete. Shanice had thought she could buy them with money and promises, but I'd already won them with something more valuable. 15 years of showing up, of choosing them every single day, of loving them even when it was hard, expensive, and exhausting. That's what real motherhood is, not biology, not wealth, not perfect houses and expensive gifts, but consistent, unconditional, sacrificial love. I'm Lorraine Brooks. I'm 67 years old. 15 years ago, I sold my house to raise 3 grandchildren my daughter abandoned. I spent every penny I had. I worked until my body gave out. I gave up my golden years, and I would do it all again in a heartbeat, because they're not my grandchildren anymore. They're my children, and I'm not their grandmother. I'm their mother, in every way that matters.